Hey everybody, Steven here, and today I have an unboxing video for the Samsung Odyssey G7. This is the 32-inch model. These just launched. It took a little bit to get here, but I pre-ordered this after seeing the presentation earlier this year at CES, I believe. With this monitor, and the thing that kind of makes it a little bit different is we're looking at a 240 hertz panel, but really the 1000R curve to it. I've played on 1800 and 1500R curves, but I'm really curious to actually see the 1000R curve. Like I said, this is the 32-inch model. It's 1440p. It's a VA panel with this. It has G-Sync and FreeSync Premium, which is awesome. And you need that FreeSync Premium to go up to the higher refresh rate. So let's get this thing unboxed here. The other thing is I have an RTX 2080 Ti, so I'm really curious to see what it can do with this thing. All right. Visually, the look though is the big thing that I'm excited to look at. And we got a full power brick here, not built into the monitor. Cable hiding panel there. Looks like that's the base, part of the base. I'll have to get all this out and then I'll have to put this on the floor to do the rest. I did go with black. I know a lot of people have gone with white with the other reviews and unboxings that I've seen, but with this, I knew that this would actually go with the rest of my build here just a little bit better. All right, here it is. The fun part is always being as careful as you can so that you don't mess this thing up. And I am upside down here. There it is. That looks awesome. That is a sharp curve, but it feels natural. Right? So I can't remember if I read this or what it was, where it was saying like the 1000R curve, it may have been on their website, is like closer to the curve of your eye or something like that. I think that's also going to depend on the sitting distance, because if you're too far away, it's not going to match that. But with this, we do have 2 extra USB ports on this. You actually do get that extension. Now my Acer has 4, so I'm going to have to figure out how to actually configure that and figure out what needs to go back, or how I'm going to essentially eliminate anything. But the little area on the back here that illuminates, really curious to see that as well. So let's go ahead and kind of get this all set up. We'll swap them out here and then show some games and just a little bit of gameplay with some higher refresh rate games like Doom Eternal. Alright, so I'm all set up here. The monitor looks great. It plays really good, but I actually have a bunch of notes here because there's so much going on with this that I wanted to make sure that I covered. The setup was really easy. The actual arm itself for this, the stand, has these screws pre-installed, so that was really easy to do. I do like that touch. And then the base here also had the screw. That's pretty common with a lot of these. I do like the cable management system as well inside of the actual arm portion of the stand here. You lift a lever and then you slide it up, and then you actually can just run your cables through that. And then we have the plastic cover in the back, so everything on the back side of this just looks really clean. So overall, I'm really pleased with that. But I did notice as I was kind of getting everything set up that this actually will wobble really easily. Any type of touch, you're going to see the wobble there. If you're pressing the menu button, which is on the bottom here, and you pull some of this up and you start sliding around, you're going to see the wobble. So just want to make sure everybody knew about that, because that was something that I didn't think this would actually do. The 1000R curve with this though feels really good. If you've had an 1800R or 1500R curve, it's going to be a subtle difference. It's not extremely pronounced. Now with the 49-inch model, the G9, I'm assuming that's very, very pronounced. But with this, it's nice. You can tell that there's a difference, but after watching a couple different videos, I was thinking it was going to be way bigger than it actually is. It's nice, but like I said, if you've actually had a curved monitor before, it's not going to be revolutionary for you. If you're coming from a flat panel, yes, it's going to be pretty extreme for you, but I really like the 1000R curve here. Cable management, like I said, is really, really great, but this only comes with the DP port in this. Don't expect an HDMI port that you're going to get with the actual monitor or an HDMI cable. And I'm assuming that's just because if you're going to run the 240 hertz, you have to have DP. So why would they waste money giving you HDMI? Although there is an HDMI port on this. We do have the pan, tilt, height adjustment, all of that with this. I do like to see that in the monitors just because I've gotten a couple where it's just doesn't have that at all, and it's one of those things, once you go to a monitor that doesn't have it, like, you really miss it. So it does include all of that, but that's to be expected with the price point on this. The lighting in the back is really, really cool, and then we have the lights in the front here, which I actually confused for speakers. I don't know why, just in my mind they look like speakers, so without hearing officially that these had speakers on it, I just assume, oh, those are speakers. They look like speakers, it's speakers. This doesn't have speakers on it. So I was actually tinkering around with the settings trying to get this to work because it's pulling up in my volume settings, but no speakers, just lighting effects here and then on the back, which looks really, really cool. But with that, you actually have static. So you have static, flashing, double flash, rainbow, and breathing. And all of those look really cool, although it's on the back side of the monitor. Now those effects do actually do the same thing in the front here, but on the back it looks cool, although it's not very often that you're looking at the back of your monitor. If this is close to the wall and it can illuminate it, that's really, really awesome. But if not, or if you have a bunch of lighting already like I do, you're probably not going to actually notice it. But if you actually get a side look at the monitor itself, it's really, really cool looking. The menu is actually really easy to navigate as well. I do like that. The single button makes it easy, being right here in the middle. It's a directional pad, just the one button, so kind of condenses everything, and I do like that. I've played with other ones where there's just too much going on or it's so confusing to navigate. This was actually really, really easy. Moving on, one spec I do want to cover is this is the 32-inch, not the 27-inch, and the PPI, the pixels per inch, is 93. Very standard for 32-inch 1440p monitors. But with that too, if your settings aren't on point in terms of coloring and sharpness, it just seems like, in my opinion, I notice it more. So if this is off, like, you're not going to be able to read the letters quite as good. They're going to just look a little bit off with that. But once you nail down your settings, and surprisingly enough, their presets on this are really, really good. And that's something that I saw on the video from Linus, is just the presets, and he said the same thing, that they're actually pretty solid with this, and I can concur, like, they're really, really good. Performance, like I mentioned, is great. The 240 hertz with this, you're kind of future-proofing. I have the RTX 2080 Ti. Now, Doom hit the 240 FPS, but other games, I don't know. Well, a lot of these games that I'm playing, they're kind of in development. They're early access games, so they're not optimized yet. But they're doing anywhere from 90 to 140, typically, with the FPS. I jumped into the Halo Master Chief Collection, and then I started reading online. I got something going on with my settings where it should be unlimited frames, and for whatever reason it's capped at 120. And so I got to actually tinker around with that a little bit more. Other than that, I'm not a massive first-person shooter guy. On this channel I typically do Subnautica Below Zero. I like adventure games, I like story-driven games. But for those that are playing like CES GO, you're going to do phenomenal with this monitor. And you can watch Linus's video where he plays that, and it handles it like a champ. But like I said, 240 hertz for even an RTX is going to be hard to hit with a lot of games. So with this, you're kind of future-proofing for hopefully the 3000 series GPUs, hopefully, that are coming out here in the next couple months, or even just the next generation beyond that for GPUs. So something to consider your future proofing with this monitor. With that, I just had to change settings in games. I had to tinker a lot in Doom, and that was the game that I tested the HDR 600 out on, and I have to mess with it more because something's going on and it just doesn't look really good. The Gigabyte monitor actually looked better, and that's an HDR 400, I believe. I may be off on that, but with that one it was easier to tinker with than this. I'm trying to get everything set up and just the coloring looked off, and with this you have to actually have adaptive sync on, I believe, for HDR and G-Sync to work. So adaptive sync is on right now, and when you do that, G-Sync ends up being enabled. And then I was watching Linus's video, and he had to turn it off for HDR to work, but mine worked both ways. And then, like I said, trying to deal with Doom and get the coloring right, I have to spend more time with this to actually nail that down. I don't have Tomb Raider, so I can't showcase that. Just not my style of game. But Doom has HDR. It's just something where I need to spend more time with it. And with that, all the time needing to be spent in order to get this to run really smooth is just not something that I'm very fond of. So I don't typically spend a lot of time worrying about HDR in a game. It's just not there yet. You look at, I believe it's an Asus monitor where it has like 512 lights with its HDR. Like, that's going to be solid HDR, but you're also going to pay $2,500 for it. That's not something I'm going to shell out that type of money. And with that, that's going to be probably that top tier HDR. That'd probably be worth it, but also you're going to need the GPUs to run it and all of that. It just, HDR is too, like, in its infant phase for me to really invest a ton of time. It's great that it has it. I need to spend more time with it, is really what I'm saying with that. Like I said, adaptive sync on. We have G-Sync enabled. You take that off. I believe it switches into FreeSync Premium, and then in the menu, when you do that, it actually opens up this top panel here, which is going to allow you to tinker with the response time, refresh rate, low input lag as well. When adaptive sync is on, you don't have access to that. You do have the black equalizer, and I really do like that. That's something I haven't seen with other monitors that I've had, but it works really well. I do like that. Keep in mind, if you're tinkering with that, it's going to affect certain menus and things like that in games, or you may be like, whoa, what's going on? And it really has to do with this. With this as well, we go down to system, local dimming, it has that on here. I have mine set to auto, and then dynamic brightness as well is on this. And I do like that those settings are built into this. But the big thing with this is, with all of that being said, $799, is this monitor worth that premium price tag? And if you're an enthusiast, I'm going to say yes. If you're not, no. There's a lot going on with this monitor with the high refresh rate and all those other things, but with this not being HDR 1000 and that top tier HDR, and GPUs not really running 240 hertz with most of these games, yeah, you're future proofing, but in the next couple of years the price on these is going to come down. So that's something else to consider. If you're an enthusiast, I consider myself one. I love this thing so far with my initial impression. The curve, the 240 hertz monitor, the look of it is the next big thing, just the aesthetics of it. So I'm very pleased with that. So that's going to be it for this one. I need to spend more time so I can actually get this review done, but I'm going to have a link for this in the description if you guys want to pick this up. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. I'll make sure that I cover those in the actual final review for this. And that's going to be it for this video. If you like the video, hit the like button for me. If you want to continue to follow along with all my content, hit the subscribe button for me. Thanks so much for watching.